We can start the session.
Okay. So again, I mean, so first after after a couple of weeks of easy run, get into zone wherein you can start your interval. Start with strides. Stride, when I say, is basically 100-meter fast running with good uh, rest. So 100-meter, basically, if you are fast, you'll be running around 17 to 22 seconds. Uh, Even the slowest up runner can do it around 30 second at the max. I mean, I'll not find people doing it even slower than that. So because it's just 100 meters, so anything between 17 second to 25 to 30 second is what time you'll be taking to do 100 meter, and then just stop for 90 seconds for 90 second, at least 60 second to 90 second, and do it again. So that's one of the best things which basically directly helps to develop better mechanics, uh, better leg strength, uh, better economy, a lot of things wherein it helps. So most of the time, these 100-meter, 200-meter, 400-meter workouts are very very underrated. You'll not find many people in our running community doing a lot of those workouts, but you go and check any long distance runners who are pro, their logs, that one workout is definitely there. I mean, 400-meter is, I mean, most of the time they'll definitely have it, and they basically go like crazy. I mean, they usually do 400 into 20, 400 into 30, that those kind of repeats they do. For us, again, I mean, most of the time, I think 400 into, you start with 8 to 10 repeats, go up to 15 to 20 repeat. That's more than sufficient. With 400, with 400 rest. Or if you are if you are at very very good very good shape, then probably you can reduce the your rest time to 200, 400, 200, 400, 200, or 400, 400. uh, Go from 10 to 20, you are good for marathon. If you can do comfortably 20 for 20 repeat of 400, your marathon fitness is back, I would say. Otherwise you'll find it hard to complete 400 into 10. I mean, that's something which this is a good fitness measurement way, wherein you go and hit a 400-meter and do see how many times you can do it without dropping your intensity much. So if you are able to sustain your intensity for 10, 15, 20 count, you are good. Next, so we almost covered it. As I talked, after the 2 weeks, just to start adding, I mean, I have put down this 20-second hard, around 90% effort, and then take 90-second rest, and then 6 to 8. Another way of adding intensity is basically you run a lot of around 900 to 800 meters slow. Just do little fast. It should not be as hard uh, as 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 the 20-second, but you just run 100-meter a little bit hard, and then another 900-meter easy. So basically, uh, you should not, after your 100-meter, you should not be stopping. You should just reduce your stride length or the way you run, and get into another 900 meters. So that will again develop little this little intensity you start adding. After a couple of weeks of this, probably you can start adding your proper tempo and all those things. So if you see, I initially I talked about the structure is basically all we need is one tempo run, one long run, and one steady state run. Steady state and tempo is almost similar. It's just an intensity where you vary. Tempo is usually you do around in between somewhere your 10-kilometer pace and your half marathon pace. Steady state is, it can be any run done at a certain pace. Basically, you look at your watch or whatever uh, method you follow, just stick to that and run for whatever 40 minute, 50 minute, or 1 hour. uh, so that's something we need to think when we go for intensity. uh, so intensity, again, I mean, if you see nowadays, one common basically very very famous method which is most of people are following, and it's giving them very, very good result. When it comes to intensity, even at at a good level, you don't need more than 20% of intensity. So your 80% effort goes in mostly in a slower side, more of a, I mean, again, it's not a big, it will not be a dead slow. It'll be more of your, if you talk about zone, it's mostly in zone 2 and zone 3. And then your tempo 20%, which is actually hard, it goes into zone 4 and zone 5. So your 20% hard and 80% easy is uh, what anyone would need. More than that is actually is again calling for trouble, which we already talked about, right? 70% of us gets injured every year. So we don't want to get into that zone anyway. So we want to be there in 30%. So let's not rush. Now, weight loss, fat loss, fasted run. Basically, again, a lot of people come and ask how safe it is. Basically, to get up and run without eating anything. So something wherein you'll always find a theory wherein if you see different people have different opinion. Uh, Most famous, diet pattern which we have in, there are three type of diet pattern which I would say we all can relate to. One is what Divekar says. One is for Dikshit diet. You must have heard. Most of people know it. Intermittent fasting is something which he talked about, and eating one time, or not with the interval. And that thing is wherein people just talk about calories, right? You weigh everything and then you get the result. So three methods. Will little bit touch on that. What works and when. Okay. So calorie is something which is going to work in any case, because something which is very, very simple and mass. So wherever you have a math is input and output. Obviously, body is not just math, right? It's a lot of chemistry as well. But again, if you see in a nutshell, it's mostly that works most of the time, because at least your variability is very, very less, because you are measuring everything in terms of how much protein you are eating, how much carb you are eating, how much fiber you have to eat, and then you eat some supplements in terms of either in form of multivitamins, or you can call different tablets which people basically recommend. And then comes your very, very conventional diet when with the Dikshit and Divekar, right? So Dikshit diet says intermittent fasting, right? Uh, it just talks about your insulin level, and then obviously a lot of things control through insulin level. And then if you see Divekar, then obviously she just talk about eat. Every 2 hours, eat something. Every 2 hours, eat something. She'll never recommend you doing the fasted run. But again, whatever I have learned and I have experienced with my experiment on my body is something I fasted run is something which you have to basically uh, one should basically train for it. And that's something, if you see running and fat loss, that's one of the best method to basically uh, reach to, you use running as a fat loss method if you are doing fasted run. And that's something which I would recommend everyone to follow. Reason being, uh, if you are running a marathon, I would go to the last point once. If you see the slide below, a marathon, basically in a marathon, you usually need 3,000 plus calories. And a lot of people, recommend you to eat gels and all. Just to give you a idea, the gel, contains around 100 to 150 gram of uh, carb. And carb, when you say carb, is basically one-to-one energy, right? It's basically one gel probably give you around 150 or 200 calories, not more than that. If you then consuming 6 gels, it is translating to around 200, around 1500 calories. You are still 1500 calories short. I'm someone who doesn't really take gels and all, but again, I'm just trying to calculate. In terms of even if you are taking 6 gels, which is a good amount of gel. People who take, usually people take 5 to 6 gel in a marathon. uh, that is taking care of your half of the energy. Half of the energy still you have to get it from your body. And I mean, if you are just relying on your carbs, that's something which is really, again, I mean, not good, I would say, because best source of energy is fat. The quickest source of energy is carb, but best source of energy, I would always say fat, because it's the proportion of energy you get from a small food, right? So eat less, you can you can spend more. So one, if you see proportion wise, 1:8 when it comes to fat. When it comes to carb, it's 1:1. Uh, so you have to eat less. Number one, that's a good thing, right? I mean, if you are eating less, it's always better. Uh, uh, while working out, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about otherwise. So if you working out, you have to consume less, and if you can use that energy, that's nothing like that. So basically, uh, we need to train our energy system in a way wherein we start using our fat as an energy source, because we all have main energy source is your carb and fat, right? So carb is something which you can't rely, because it cannot sustain. I mean, anybody, I mean, more than 1 hour, you don't really have it. And if somebody is running a 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour marathon, no way you can basically compensate it through carb. You have to go for source which is always available, because even somebody who's as fit as, you know, 1 digit fat percentage have enough fat to run throughout a day, I would say. Because I'll give you an example. Suppose a 60 kg person has, say, 6% of fat or 10% of fat, that translate into, around 6 kg of fat. And that 6 kg of fat is huge amount of energy. It'll make you run throughout the day, and you'll not be even, worrying about. I mean, if you just translate the energy part, there's something, again, it's maths. It's not actually exact way of understanding it. But again, I mean, it's a simplistic way of understanding it, wherein there's something which we need to basically make our body fat to work for us, rather than relying on our carb. And how to get to that, basically how to use that. Couple of runs, again, I mean, as we talk about, faster run is one way, wherein when your sugar level is already low, run slow. And to start with, target your easy days. Say you are running 4 days or 5 days a week. Whatever day is easier for you, that day don't eat anything when you get up. uh, Drink water and get out and run. Do it for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and come back. And then eventually you build. I mean, personally, I personally, during training, I personally don't eat anything on my training. Uh, I definitely eat when I go for events. Uh, I make sure I eat enough when I go for event. Is something which I have trained myself way. I mean, that way, where in any event I eat, and during the event too I eat. I mean, I I plan my nutrition, wherein I have to eat or drink at certain distance. I usually do that. In event, reason being, I don't want to basically give that excuse in the event that I did not eat and I'm doing that. So that's a simple reason. But when you look at my training, I usually, anything 2 hours, I don't usually go with nothing. I usually go without water. I usually go without food. But again, I mean, I won't recommend anyone immediately. It's basically something you have to train for, and eventually you reach to that level. Uh, Another thing I basically emphasize on is something which probably we all need to fix, our water intake. Because as a runner, as a endurance athlete, we all need to make sure you are well hydrated all the time. It helps in many ways. Your recoveries becomes better. You don't feel dehydrated. A lot of unnecessary stress is taken care of if you are drinking a lot of water. You eat less. I mean, because most of the time, if you are drinking enough water, you don't eat unnecessary junk food. So that's another advantage of you know uh, drinking enough liquid. Uh, and I mean, my recommendation is I basically, for male, usually I recommend more than 5 liters of water every day, no matter you are running marathon or not. That's something which I follow, and that helps me in many ways. And then I can go for couple of hours without water, without anything in any season, be it heat or it's cool, winter. I don't really worry about dehydration part when I'm going out and running. If I get it, I'm fine. If I don't get, then also I'm fine. Again, I mean, I'm not talking about event. I'm mostly talking about training. Event, you definitely need to make sure you plan your hydration well, because again, something where you have paid and you are basically try to perform at certain level. Training is something wherein you are getting ready for that. So training is all about experiment. Another thing for fat loss is again, we all are, as an athlete, we need to make sure we eat enough protein, a lot of veggies, because the more vegetable you eat, you stop eating, because our primary, because I mean, I'm personally, very very uh, uh, good advocate. I mean, I advocate all the local food. Whatever you eat, you eat. I mean, basically, we all have our food habit. It can't change, right? So let's not go fancy. It's basically just try to change the portions which we usually eat. So if I see usual meal which we have, I mean, as a North Indian, I've come from a background where we eat rice, dal, and vegetable. But if you see portion wise, always dal rice is more than what vegetable we eat. Or because we eat a lot of curry with masala and all, it anyways, I mean, the focus is curry, not the vegetable. So that's something which definitely we can change, because you just eat, you know, we need to change wherein your portions become, vegetable portion become more, less of gravy, less of spices, more of vegetable. And then again, I mean, the more vegetable you take, obviously your rice intake would be less. So eat your vegetables first. You eat your salad first, and then you eat your main course. Because the moment you are half filled with your salad and your vegetable, you are going to eat rice and dal less. But again, I mean, don't change your food habits. Change the portion. I mean, that's the best way to basically manage it. I usually do it. I eat my all vegetable first, and then I eat my usual food, because I'm obsessed about eating dal rice every day. So I eat dal rice, but again, I mean, it's last thing which I eat in my from my plate. I usually eat everything before that, so that I don't eat more of dal rice than anything else. Another question is overweight. How much should I weight and all these things? Again, I would say don't be obsessed with something with the process. If you get into a process, it will be automatically fixed. I mean, you don't have to really worry about your weight if you. I mean, because something I have learned, if you are disciplined in one area, other area becomes easy to manage. If you are indisciplined, then there is no. I mean, we just keep we can keep talking, but there won't be any changes. So discipline is something which is very very important. So fix one thing, other things automatically will be fixed. So there is no right or wrong weight. Again, I mean, something we all need to understand. Uh, there are people who have restriction, but those who don't have, I would say, if you just fix your protein intake and the amount of vegetable we are eating, it'll be very very quick, wherein your fat would come down to as low as 12% or 13% if you are actually going to get into proper diet. uh, because the amount of running we do, amount of exercise we do, uh, it's advantage for us, because with right food it comes down really really quick. uh, Faster run, I already talked about. We have to train for it, to start with easy base and high intensity. Another way of doing it is progression run, wherein progression means you start slow and eventually with the period you start adding some intensity. So suppose somebody running 10 kilometers 60 minutes, I would say you run 10 kilometers 60 minutes, but you start very, very slow. So if you see 60 minutes, your pace is 6 kilometer per 6 minutes per kilometer, right? You start with 7 kilometer per minute and take it to average out to 6. So if you can do that with control, every 2 kilometers, suppose you are going to increase, your pace by 10-15 seconds, and take it to, at the end of your run, you take it to, suppose your target was 6, but you are running at 5:30 or 5, for that matter. It makes you believe that you are much better because you are able to run your last mile faster, and also it helps you to use your fat in initially and carb at the later stage, because carb usually used when you are actually working out hard. When you are working out easy, that's where your fat gets used. So to use your fat, you have to run slow, you have to start slow, so that your heart rate doesn't go that high wherein start hitting your glycogens. So another thing is, start slow, lot of time, do slow miles, and then try to last 3-4 kilometers, just pick up and finish your run. Uh, you can race better with this, with more control, because you'll be always knowing that what exactly you are doing and when to basically pick up, when to hold on. So that's pretty much I wanted to cover. Anything if you want me to talk about further, let me know. I'm open to question answers. You wish?
Sorry. I accidentally muted the.
No, no
Okay, the
worries.
first question is how to reassess the form and fitness as we restart running.
Okay, again, I mean, it's basically when you talk about assessing the fitness, I would say not bother too much about that. It's basically just go out and enjoy the run. I mean, I tried to cover that when I was talking about it. It's basically uh, give yourself a little bit more time to get into a rhythm, because I'll give you my example. When I get out first day, I ran 5 kilometers. I was not looking at the watch, but I found it very, very stressful, because it's something uh, that day, a lot of factors, probably what time you go out and all those things. And again, I was going in mask up to start with. Now I stopped using mask while running, because I usually get out early, and usually there's no one on the road. But I usually carry, but I don't use it. So it's basically go by feel. In couple of runs, if you are, I mean, there on one first slide, right, we covered 3 things. There are people who have not done anything. Those who have not done anything, just reset everything. Don't try to set any goal or any pace for yourself. Just go out and enjoy a couple of weeks. Once you get into rhythm, then start adding those 100-meter stride or intervals. You'll because you are resetting. So let's not bother too much about the history. Uh, After a month or so, I can guarantee you that if you are consistent enough, you'll definitely come back to your fitness which you were in March. But that 1 month, don't bother about where you are and what exactly you are able to do. Just take it easy, and then gradually uh, put some intensity. And people who are already running, again, for them also, because most of the time it's indoor run, I would say, uh, with too much break, or on a very short patch, for a couple of weeks, go by feel, don't go by watch, don't go by speed as such. Just go by feel, get out and run whatever comes natural. It could be fast or slow. Don't compare it with March run, or your whatever you have done in April, March, or January, February. Don't compare it with that run. Just that how good or bad you are feeling now. That's your fitness. So don't worry too much about where were you. I can assure you, most of us are better than where we were in terms of fitness for so many other reasons. Because one thing I found very common in all of us is we adopted in different ways, right? I mean, people who are doing either indoor cycling, indoor running. We did a lot of different things. If you go and see, in different groups, I have not seen any group being completely inactive. So fitness wise, I would say everybody's fitness has gone up. Not running fitness, I'm talking about overall fitness. So that is going to reflect somewhere. And I remember when I started running, we were very less aware. We are not this community rich wherein we had people who can come and talk openly about what need to be done. But now we are so much well equipped in terms of what all things are important. Uh, Now I don't know anyone who doesn't do ST. I ran 1 year without doing any strength training. Uh, Believe it or not, but 1 year completely just run. I don't find anyone who doing that now. Everybody at least knows that is something which is important. Everybody at least does some type of gym or group workout or any other workout to accompany your running or do some cross training. So we are much better in terms of fitness. Don't compare your runs. I would say it's a simple. Just take it easy. 1 month later, you'll be much better than where you are.
Okay. The second question is MAF run training, MAF, method recommended as we have enough time to practice now?
Again, I would say we don't have enough time to practice MAF because again, if you're seeing the, uh, you know, uh, uh, 5-6 month time is not the time which I'll be looking for MAF. MAF is something which requires a lot of patience and a lot of time to practice. Uh, I would recommend if somebody is looking for ultra marathon, definitely go for MAF, wherein your focus is something which is endurance. So MAF is best tool to develop endurance, not giving a lot of stress to your body and covering those 100 miles or 100 kilometers makes it easy if you are doing it with less stress on your body. But if somebody who's looking at 3:30 marathon or 4-hour marathon or say 3-hour marathon, a big no to MAF, I would say. It's not going to take you anywhere. That's the frank opinion I have. And it's not just my opinion. I have basically tried to understand that method too. In terms of I I heard a lot of scientific podcast and all. One thing I'm sure. I mean, everybody agrees that. I mean, to run that intense, wherein probably if you are looking at running at sub 90 or sub 85 or sub 80-minute half marathon, you have to run hard. And MAF means you can't run hard. You have to basically. I mean, if I look at Pune's condition, sometimes we have to walk for to get that heart rate which it recommends, because most of our terrain is basically up down. You hardly get track or hardly get flats here. uh, it shoots up light. I mean, any place. I mean, I live in Kharadi. I mean, there's no way I can do MAF here.
Okay. The next question was regarding intervals, but I think we have covered that in the talk. Then another question is, once a monsoon starts, is it good to put more focus on indoor runs?
I'm not a big fan of indoor run if you don't have treadmill. If you have treadmill, it's fine. You can get into indoor run, but otherwise, uh, it is again depends how big area you have. But so most of the time, if you are living in a flat or even 3 BHK, 4 BHK houses, uh, uh, it has lot of twist and turn. Uh, Too much stress on your body, I would say. So I would always recommend going outdoor because I mean just look at the time when it's not raining, or you start when it's not raining. Because anyways we don't have to rely on group now, right? I mean that's one thing which we all are ruling out, wherein probably we'll not be gathering and doing the runs together. So fix your time and get out and then come back.
Okay. Next question is it safe to use bandana or mask to cover your nose while running, or one should cover nose if anyone else is in your vicinity?
Yeah, so that's I said. I mean, again, I mean, safety-wise, I don't find a lot of issue. It's safe, but again, I mean, you can't go hard if you are wearing mask. So you can't go for your tempo run and you can't go speed run when you're when mask on, right? So for easy runs, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely safe. But again, I mean, because most of the time we all are morning people, wherein you get up in the morning and get out. Roads are usually empty. No one, lot of people are on the road. So you always get that social distancing thing wherein you can easily go and put your mask up and run. But carry it, I would say, because I mean there might be places wherein you have to just pull it on and cover the distance.
Next question is it recommended to calibrate your pace for various runs like tempo and intervals by doing a trial 5K run?
I would say yes. I mean, and I found one tool. I'm sure you must be aware about McMillanRunning.com. They have a calculator, and that calculator is pretty accurate. I mean, in many ways. For us, I mean, what I have observed and I have learned is uh, their lower speed doesn't work for us because we are not into uh, actual athletics, right? We covered the distance and then we went into speed. And most of us basically have trained reverse. When I say reverse, actually we do half marathon and then we look at the reducing the time. So we have not gone from 100-meter to 200-meter to 400-meter and to mile to half marathon and full marathon. Our way is always ulta, wherein we started with half marathon, we did full marathon, and we started looking at that, improving our time. So because we are into reverse order, anything less than 5 kilometers at a time, that will not help us much. But if suppose you have your best half marathon time or best 10-kilometer time, you just put that in that calculator and you get a fair idea about your training paces. If you are running based on paces, and that's fairly accurate. I mean, I have a very good experience with that calculator, and that's pretty much plus minus 5 seconds is what difference I have seen so far, not more than that. So calibration is, and your training paces should be basically known, and you should be mostly training with those things. I mean, your tempo should be, you should be hitting that tempo all the time, most of the time, and then your interval paces should be calibrated with that. Wherein, okay, fine. If you are suppose you're going for a mile, what should be your pace? If you're going for a say 2 miles, what should be your pace? If you're going for a 3 mile run, what should be your pace? So that way, I mean, it's helpful because it reduces the stress on your body anyway. Because if you're suppose going for a mile, you can go all out, but if you're going for 3 miles, it doesn't make sense. You start at that pace.
Okay, next question is due to this Chinese virus infection, some articles say that you have to keep some energy or immunity in balance after running or exercises. Any comment on it?
So again, I mean, that's something which it doesn't matter whether it's a COVID or not. We always, I mean, it's a training, right? Training, you should be training in a way wherein, because it's just 1.5 hour you are spending or 2 hours you are spending while training. You have to manage the day as well. I mean, everybody has to manage, right? You need to have that energy wherein you can manage your day. So training should not be killing you for sure. Some sessions is different. I mean, wherein you actually going for hard workout, say tempo workout or interval workout, that will make you more tired. But it should not be every day affair wherein you get out and kill yourself. That's not training. That's something probably you'll be doing once in a while in races, but not in training for sure. So training is something wherein either COVID or no COVID, you have to basically uh, make yourself efficient, and probably not more than 70%, 60% is what is needed to do that 1 hour, 1.5 hour workout. Because most of us, if you are a runner, you don't need to do more than 90-minute run in a day anyways. other than your weekend runs. Most of the time your weekday run goes off in 90 minutes anyways. So 90 minutes something, after that you manage your day. So you can't spend 100% there and gone cold a whole day, right? So you have to manage. Most of us manage family, office, work, whatever profession you are in. That should go on.
Okay. How to incorporate strides in training?
My recommendation is to start with target your steady state run, and if you are running 3 days, steady state run is one wherein you should be putting your strides in, and the strides is basically your just 20-second fast and 90-second or 60 to 90-second rest is what is needed, recommended, because your first stride would be something wherein you will not feel it. You might want to go just again rush for 100 meter, but hold on because it's going to be for another 5, 6 or 10 rupees. So fix your rest interval and stick to that. And after your 10 kilometer, 8 kilometer, whatever run you are doing on Tuesday or any other day, easy runs, finish your easy run, take rest, and just do 8 or 10. Start with 5, 6, I would say, and then go till 8 to 10 strides and done.
Okay. Can you elaborate the 80-20 formula?
Yeah, I mean 80-20 is basically there are two contexts I specifically talked about 80-20 here. One was to fix your problems is basically wherein you have to look at 20% of the problem, and there is 80-20 where we were talking about intensity versus endurance. So your 80% runs should be in your zone 2 or early zone 3. It should not be going higher in the zone 3 because again, I mean amount of stress you are putting in your body is something which, I mean, we all need recovery, right? If you're not recovering well, we can't really sustain week on week, because our idea is to go week on week and week on week. So am I here, right? Yeah. So yeah, so we have to go week on week on week. So because we are going week on week, so we have to make sure we are recovering well. So to recover well, we have to make sure our intensity doesn't go so high wherein again we have our food pattern fixed, we have our all other routine fixed. So it makes sense to make sure our intensity is around not more than 15 to 20%, because the more you add intensity, more recovery we will need. And recovery means your food, your sleep, and all other parameters. So that's something, yeah, I mean, that's something which need to be taken care of. So not more than 20%, but again, I mean, the less intensity you keep, harder you go. So suppose your intensity is 10%, so means you have to go hard and hard and hard in that 10%. So, but again, I mean, the more, but if you go more moderate side, the problem is moderation. You can't again go to, it's like math we talk about, right? Just by doing math, you can't really improve. Just by moderation, you can't improve, or improvement will be very, very slow. So intensity is where your VO2 max, your few runs would be speed runs, few would be VO2 max runs. So in all, I think 17 to 20% is what we all need. In terms of design, probably 1 hour of tempo run would add to if you consider your marathon run. So we all need to train around 4 to 6 hours of I mean, if you weekly duration is 4 to 6 hours for most of the runners. I'm talking about running time. So for 6 hours,
okay. Just a minute. This meeting is going to end now. We have only 10 seconds. Anyway, thanks for the enlightening talk. I think you had already covered the 80-20 method. Really wonderful to have you here for today's session.